audits. I am EagleNick. And I want y'all to see, I had my state senator, Mr. John Ossoff, to investigate the United States Postal Service in downtown Dalton, Georgia. And what good did it do when my state senator, Mr. John Ossoff, had to have gave Postmaster Constance Long EagleNick's telephone number, and Postmaster Constance Long called EagleNick to talk to him about his mail problems, when Postmaster Constance Long is the reason for EagleNick's mail problems. Now, Postmaster Long act like that they would do that, Mr. Nicholson. Postmaster Constance Long said they would not retaliate against EagleNick audits that way by stealing my mail. Yeah, I have yet to receive a Cash App card that has been shipped for over 70 days now. But my state senator, my United States Senator, Mr. John Ossoff, did not do EagleNick audits any justice, for they must have gave Postmaster Constance Long EagleNick audits telephone number, his personal telephone number. I never authorized them to give out my telephone number. Postmaster Constance Long had already had EagleNick audits arrested for criminal trespass, damage of $500 or less. Now Postmaster Long knows EagleNick audits personal cell phone number. Now EagleNick audits thinks that is a dirty tactic on the part of my United States Senator John Ossoff for giving Postmaster Constance Long EagleNick audits personal cell phone number. Now, Postmaster Long stated that they can do an audit of EagleNick audits mail to where they count the mail that I receive that comes into the post office, and then make sure that that amount of mail goes into my mailbox each day. Now, that is the way it is supposed to be all the time, not just some of the time. Yeah, EagleNick Audits has not received his Cash App card, my original Cash App card that shipped to my primary address, in over 70 days. Now, EagleNick Audits told Postmaster Constance Long that they were stealing my mail. They were holding my mail up because of my First Amendment audits of the United States Post Office. Postmaster Constance Long assured EagleNick Audits that they would not do that. I said, so you mean y'all wouldn't retaliate against EagleNick Audits and hold up his mail and steal my mail? And she said, no, sir. Mr. Nicholson, hello there, Mr. Thomas, how you doing? I'm talking about, I received a phone call today after I had did my live stream at the Whitfield County Courthouse, and I called out my United States Senator, Mr. John Ossoff, and said I hope he was doing his job and was not just going to sweep it under the rug about the investigation of the United States Post Office in downtown Dalton, Georgia, where they are illegally stealing EagleNick Audits mail, holding up my mail. I have a Cash App card that has been shipped for over 70 days that I have not received. Hello there, DT. How's it going? Would you look at that Barb? Is that Barb or Barbie? Now, after EagleNick Audits had did the live stream at the Whitfield County Courthouse and called out my United States Senator John Ossoff towards the very end of the live stream, no more than an hour later, when EagleNick Audits had returned home to the Eagle's Nest, EagleNick Audits received a call from none other than my United States Senator's office, Mr. John Ossoff, to ask about my problems with the United States Mail Service. And for some reason, they had said that I was having problems mailing mail, sending mail. And I said, no, sir. The United States Post Office in downtown Dalton, Georgia, is stealing EagleNick Audits mail. They have held up my Cash App card for over 70 days. Look, this is EagleNick Audits self-made press pass. I made that to have my own press pass. Now, after I talked to them, I had already sent out the consent form for them to investigate the United States Post Office. I had received a call today and answered some more questions, and they said they would call the United States Post Office. Yes, sir, Mr. Thomas, it was an unlawful arrest. EagleNick Audits did not commit criminal trespass, much less criminal trespass damage of $500 or less. Now, Postmaster Constance Long said that they would audit EagleNick Audits mail for 7 days to count how much mail EagleNick Audits had coming in, to make sure that amount of mail went into my mailbox. But my Cash App card has been shipped for 70 plus days, and EagleNick Audits has not received said Cash App card. But Postmaster Constance Long called EagleNick Audits today. There is the number to the United States Post Office in downtown Dalton, Georgia. If you feel you would like to call them to redress your grievances, do not call on behalf of EagleNick Audits, but it is your constitutional right to redress your grievances with the United States Post Office through the downtown Dalton Post Office. Now, EagleNick Audits informed Postmaster Constance Long that the Sixth Amendment to the United States Constitution says that EagleNick Audits has the right to confront his accusers, to compel them to testify, and that I would see her in court. Now, as soon as EagleNick Audits had told Postmaster Constance Long thus, Postmaster Constance Long showed her true colors and abruptly and rudely hung up on EagleNick Audits. After Postmaster Constance Long called EagleNick Audits uninvited, I did not authorize my state senator to give out my personal cell phone number, especially to the postmaster who had EagleNick Audits arrested for exercising his constitutional rights. EagleNick Audits. EagleNick talks as slow or as fast as he wants. I can't help it sometimes. Sometimes I talk fast. Sometimes I talk slow. If you don't like listening, then away you go. That is your right, and this is mine. I don't feel sick. I feel pretty fine. But EagleNick does not like having his rights violated. EagleNick does not like Postmaster Constance Long calling his personal cell phone and acting like, oh, we would never do that, Mr. Nicholson. Yeah, at the same time, EagleNick Audits is having his mail stole. EagleNick Audits is being ripped off, waiting on a Cash App card for 70 plus days. Am I talking fast enough for you now? Can you hear me now? So what good did it do to authorize my United States Senator, Mr. John Ossoff, to investigate the United States Post Office when all they did was gave the postmaster my telephone number? You know, I didn't say, hey, why don't y'all give her my number and have her to give me a call so EagleNick Audits can investigate why he is being screwed over. Because EagleNick Audits knowed why he was being screwed over. Because EagleNick Audits was exercising his constitutional rights. Hey, I would love to have a good job as long as it's not some kind of bull crap job. EagleNick Audits is talking about, I had my United States Senator, John Ossoff, investigate the United States Post Office in downtown Dalton, Georgia. EagleNick Audits had filled out a consent form and faxed it back to my state senator, Mr. John Ossoff. Now, my state senator gave the postmaster EagleNick Audits' personal telephone number. I never authorized my United States senator to give out my personal telephone number to have Postmaster Constance Long to call EagleNick Audits. I'm sure Postmaster Constance Long has been calling EagleNick Audits ever since she had me arrested and long before, but she was not calling me by my name. She was calling me out of my name. But I would like to thank all of my subscribers, my original subscribers, and the over 1,500 plus subscribers that I have received in the past month and 2 days. I would ask that you would like, share, and comment on as many videos as you can. And when you watch my videos and my shorts, they now have watch ads in the videos and short feed ads in the shorts. EagleNick would really appreciate it if y'all would let the ads play. I don't know what's a squiggle. EagleNick had a subscriber, someone who was watching my live stream, come up to the courthouse, and EagleNick actually turned around and talked to him for a second. The gentleman was wearing a Make America Great Again hat. EagleNick would like to thank you, sir, if you are watching again. EagleNick would like to thank the 2 gentlemen he seen at the store right across from the Walmart neighborhood market yesterday, who told EagleNick Audits that they would be at his arraignment on July the 9th at 9 a.m. at the Whitfield County Courthouse. Well, I would appreciate it. Don't go in there saying that I sent you or nothing, or it will cause me more trouble. I would love to see somebody up there wearing an EagleNick t-shirt. And if you have an extra one made, I sure would like to have one myself. I do not have the money to even have me one made, because I had to take my money and buy this phone, because the phone that I'm holding now, my original phone, this is Mr. Snatchy, the phone in my hand now that I'm doing this live stream on. This is the phone that Lieutenant M. Locke with the Dalton Police Department stole, confiscated from EagleNick Audits on April the 18th. Now, I went and got my phone back on my birthday. EagleNick Audits was arrested for his 5th First Amendment audit when I was exercising my constitutional rights at the United States Post Office in downtown Dalton, Georgia. I was charged with misdemeanor criminal trespass, a Class B misdemeanor, damage of $500 or less. Hello there, Mr. Big Daddy Avocado Bra. It's not Creepy Nick, it's EagleNick. It looks like you are the one that's in here creeping there, Mr. Big Daddy. What are you trying to compensate for by calling yourself Mr. Big Daddy? Now, when I first did my first audit at the United States Post Office in downtown Dalton on February the 9th, they did not have a single Poster 7. And before I went out the door, when I found out that the lady who was treating EagleNick Audits so rough and with such disrespect was the actual postmaster, when I said, "Is the postmaster in, ma'am?" She said, "I am the postmaster." I said, "Well, ma'am, I need to put you on record You need to get Poster 7. You need to learn it. You need to study it and learn your job. And I said, I will be back. Now, EagleNick Audits went back on Valentine's Day 5 days later and surprised the postmaster, Constance Long, with 1 rotten rose, which emulated the service that EagleNick Audits received because the postmaster had called the Dalton Police Department on me for exercising my constitutional rights. Now, the Dalton Police Department, Officer Shope, Corporal Shope, came up first and talked to EagleNick. And EagleNick told him what was going on. You can see the full video on my YouTube channel. And when I explained it to him, he went inside and informed the postmaster that I was well within my rights and there was literally nothing she could do. Now, after they left, EagleNick Audits went back inside and continued to receive the same disrespect from the postmaster. And it was after that point, right before EagleNick left, that I asked it if the postmaster was in, and she said that she was the postmaster. Well, it depends on where you at. EagleNick Audits don't get tips. Are you talking about Q-tips? EagleNick Audits buys the generic brand. I can't afford Q-tips. I buy the great value at Walmart. If you're in Dalton, Georgia, Raisin Textile used to print them, but I don't know if they're still in bit. Yeah, Raisin Textile is out in Rocky Face. No, EagleNick kicks booty. Hello to you, Mr. Tyler C. Tyler C, Tyler do. But thank you for commenting. Tyler C, why would you come in here and start trying to make EagleNick mad? It's not going to work. I will be voting for Donald John Trump. EagleNick thanks God that Governor Brian Kemp cannot run for re-election, that he has received the only 2 terms he can receive. No, it's okay. You let Tyler C stay. He can say what he wants as long as he does not offend anyone else in the chat. As long as he does not say anything that is disrespectful. EagleNick Audits does not care if he calls me a inbred hillbilly or anything else. You are a whiner, not a wiener. No, Tyler C, I will not show you my Oscar Mayer wiener. EagleNick Audits appreciates that, zombie. But EagleNick Audits will stand up for himself as I stand up for the rights of everyone. People need to realize that I'm not doing this just for me. I started doing my audits and calling myself EagleNick Audits because the Dalton City Police Department violated the constitutional rights, the First Amendment and the Fourth Amendment of Miss Pink, Helen, the homeless artist. But I really appreciate the fact that you say that you will stick up for me. But what about that job in your company you was talking about? EagleNick could use to make some money. No, I don't really play games. Now, I tell you what, EagleNick likes to go fishing. If any of y'all ever wants to come down to Dalton, Georgia, and go fishing, I know a good lake called Hag Mill Lake. Well, I sure do thank you, Rayanne. You are very much appreciated. And I am glad you found me. EagleNick did not know he was lost. Not at the moment. Now, I have been lost many times, and I went out and looked for myself, but I had to make sure to tell somebody if I came back to just tell me to wait, that I shall return. Now, EagleNick has super thanks, but I do not know how it works. I received a $9.99 super thanks on a live stream I did yesterday evening, but EagleNick did not do something right, and it showed up on the screen, but it never showed up where it would go to EagleNick's pocket. I'm new to getting the super thanks, and I just have received the watch ads in my videos and the short feed ads in my shorts. Hello there, Tyler C. How you doing? Now you going to talk nice to me after you tried to instigate trouble? Like I said, that is your right under the First Amendment of free speech. But you also have the right under the Fifth Amendment not to say anything. EagleNick believes in the whole Constitution, therefore I am a constitutionalist. But if some of the things you say, EagleNick would rather you stand by your Fifth Amendment rights and not say squat. Yeah, I have a Cash App card and a PayPal card, but while I was doing the live stream, there was a little yellow dot over to the left bottom side of the screen, and I believe I was supposed to touch that dot to accept it. Like it says there is messages held for review, and you touch it to view the message, and then you can click show or hide. But I did not know that. You know, I'm 57 years old, and I just had started receiving super thanks that day. But the next day, I was eligible for the watch page ads and the short feed ads. So I really would appreciate it, Miss Rayanne, if you would watch a few of my videos and my shorts, and that you would, my shorts videos, that is. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. But if when you were watching them and everyone else, if you would please let the ads play, you can mute them, but it would help EagleNick out immensely to actually have YouTube pay EagleNick to have a stream of revenue coming from the ads themselves. EagleNick can guarantee you, if you will look through my videos, go down to the very bottom and start from the first one and work your way back up, that you will not be disappointed. EagleNick does not sugarcoat. EagleNick does not sit, beg, roll over, or play dead. And I dang sure do not fetch, except for fetch on my phone for receipts. There you go again, Mr. Tyler C. Zombie. Tyler C. said he wanted to have your Oscar Mayer wiener. My baloney has a first name. It's Oscar. But I won't tell you the rest of it because it'll get copyright that far. EagleNick don't want to get a copyright strike on his live stream. So where is everybody from? I see I have 153 people watching right now. Well, it dropped down to 80. EagleNick must have scared him off when he asked it where he was. There was 153, now 80. So that is 73 people that dropped off the face of the earth. So I guess those 73 were all up here at the Dalton Police Department. Hey, EagleNick, this loves Ellijay, Georgia. I used to live over off the Big Creek. EagleNick always loved to go fishing right there in the river behind the Dairy Queen and all up and down through there. You say you live in Ellijay. Did you know that the state record rainbow trout was caught just barely downstream from the Dairy Queen in Ellijay? No, Ellijay does not stink. Ellijay is the place to go if you're hip like EagleNick. EagleNick likes apples. When EagleNick was a teenager, his family would go over to Ellijay and pick apples at BJ's Apple Orchard. So are you in Ellijay too, Rayanne, or was that you that said you're in Ellijay? Oh, you are in Ellijay. Well, Miss Rayanne, I'll tell you what. I like how you talk, how you treat EagleNick with respect, and I would almost try to ride my bicycle over there just to say hello if it wasn't the hottest part of the year. No, BJ's does not sell tainted apples. You're thinking about Toto. Oh, tainted love. Sometimes I feel I've got to run away. No, that is Toto. Ellijay sells good apples. BJ's Apple House. EagleNick used to love to go fishing over there for trout in the Carter K River. Yes, sir, Thomas. I live in Whitfield County, Dalton, Georgia. Mr. Tyler, I believe you have bipolar disorder. You're up one minute and down the next. Have you sought treatment for that bipolar? Now, my wife had bipolar disorder, Tyler, and it ended up killing her, so I would ask you to seek help. EagleNick, audits. I am EagleNick. I thank you all. EagleNick is uglier than sin, but I don't care. I thank you all. Tyler C., I would never hurt nobody. EagleNick loves everybody. Oh, listen to this. I got a good one for you. I like mustard on my biscuits. Some people call it yellow baby crap. I call it mustard. Can I get some taters to go with my biscuit? I like some of them French fried potatoes. Some people call it a Kaiser blade. I call it a sling blade. Or how about this one? Wee doggy. Ain't nothing like some hog jaws and fiddle grits. EagleNick used to could do a mean Pee Wee Herman, but that was before Pee Wee got caught playing with his Pee Wee in the theater, and he quit doing that. God rest your soul, Mr. Paul Rubens. Rest in peace. Now, I'm pretty sure Paul Rubens died. If you didn't, I'm sorry for saying you did. Hey, I have Pee Wee's Big Adventure on DVD, but if you have never seen his newest movie that he did in 2016, EagleNick suggests you check it out. It is funny too. They didn't nobody steal his bicycle, but it was still a good movie. At certain times, you can really see his age, but he still looks like Pee Wee. How you doing there, Mr. Arcane Omega? Hey, I tell you what. I'll tell you the movie that Paul Rubens was in that I liked the most he did. I liked him best as the hamburger guy. It was called it wasn't Up in Smoke. It was the Nice Dreams. It was Cheech and Chong's Nice Dreams. Paul Rubens played the hamburger guy. Chong had gave the hamburger guy all of their money, and the hamburger guy happened to live in an insane asylum. Now, if you will watch it, I guarantee you will love it. It is an EagleNick favorite, especially when he Cheech and Chong wakes up, and there's a guy with red hair that looks just like a damn chicken. I'm sorry for saying the D word, but he looks just like a chicken, and he's sitting there, got his arms folded down like a chicken, and he's sitting there crowing. It is some of the funniest stuff you will ever see. But they end up putting Cheech in a straitjacket and restraining him to the wall in a rubber room. And Chong comes in and gives him some acid. But now Up in Smoke is a killer movie too, where Cheech gives Chong a ride because Chong has his shirt stuffed like he has big old honkers, big old hooters. And when Chong gets in, Cheech says, "Hey, man, that's false advertising." He says, "Yeah, I know, man, but it's hard to get a ride any other way." But Chong ends up giving Cheech a bunch of stuff. He says, "Here, take this, man. It'll make you feel better." And old Cheech just gobbles it down. Then Chong said, "No, wait, man, don't take that." He said, "What do you mean, wait? I done took it." And he goes, he said, "You just took the most acid I've ever seen anybody take." And Cheech was tripping out, said, "Oh, it's going to kill me. It's going to kill me." Chong said, "No, that's good acid. I just hope you ain't busy for about a month." Now, Cheech and Chong had a bunch of killer movies. One of the funniest ones was the Corsican Brothers, to where one of them would get hit and the other one would feel pain. They didn't feel their own pain. They felt the pain of the other. But Now Things Are Tough All Over was also a fabulous movie. Hey, Mongo on Blazing Saddles was pretty killer. Just don't feed Mongo too many of them beans or he'll make you leave the room. And old Gene Wilder was almost as fast as EagleNick when it comes to the quick draw. Watch and I will show you. Look, watch this. You want to see my quick draw? You want to see it again? You want to see it again? You want to see it again? That was fast there, so you couldn't even see it. Hey, that's cool, Miss Rayanne. I've been to Atlanta a few times, but I've not been to Atlanta in many years. I don't think I would want to ride my bicycle down there. That's a little bit too far. Now, I have almost rode my bicycle to, not the same one I got now, but a bicycle to LJ. I got over in Spring Place and ended up hitting that big curb at the old Golden Gallon by that big blue United States Post Office box around the side and bent up my rim and blowed out my tire, my tube rather. It didn't hurt the tire, but it blowed out the tube. What do you mean open up a panel? How about a drawer? I don't got no panels to open. You'd have to explain to me what you mean by that. EagleNick is old. Who will you be voting for? Are you eligible to vote? What are your thoughts on creepy Joe Biden, the smelling felon? Guess what, everybody? Tomorrow will be the 4th of July. And I say, happy birthday to us and many more. EagleNick may not be perfect, but guess what? There's nothing better than the EagleNick Show. Because EagleNick appreciates everyone who watches my videos. And LJ is the place for the good old Mountain Dew. And there's my cat food that I feed my cats. It's starting to get low. I'm hoping that I'll get a lot of revenue built up, at least enough to be able to get my cats some cat food. And if I was to have any more of those super thanks, I hope I can figure out how to make sure I receive it. Because I think Dennis, when he sent it, Because it was super, because it was a big old giant $9.99 across the screen. 9.99, $9.99. But in the end, I guess it was YouTube who really needed to thank Dennis, because EagleNick Audits did not see any way, shape, or form that it came to EagleNick. But I would love to see it again sometime, even if it's just $2. I just like how it looked. It was cool. But most of all, this live stream is like a meet and greet. I usually do them in the evening just to thank all of my new subscribers. Sometimes I get tongue-tied and I will start to say something and it will come out wrong. I ask you to forgive me. Sometimes EagleNick sounds like he is balking backwards, which means talking backwards. But that is just something that EagleNick learned to do a long time ago, to where me and certain cousins could talk without other people knowing what we were saying. It takes a little bit of understanding and getting used to. I always say used to when it meant like it ain't new, but it's used. But I'll use the word used when I'll say, well, I used to go to school, but I'll say I used to, and people will say, that ain't right. Well, EagleNick Audits never said that he was politically correct. EagleNick Audits does not conform to the norm. What's up, Zolengloss? EagleNick Audits can talk backwards, forwards, and sideways. I'm even starting to learn that troll language. EagleNick has so many trolls on his YouTube channels that I can almost talk trollese. Not Chinese, but trollese. But I appreciate you too, Zolenglass, however you say that. EagleNick is open to some speech therapy if you would like to fund it. Do you think you can talk better than me? Judge not, lest ye be judged. Where'd you go there, Mr. Tyler C? Are you still here? And Miss Rayanne, I agree. Trump 2024. It's time to kick Joe Biden right out that door. Are y'all planning on going to see the fireworks tomorrow evening? The EagleNick Audits is planning on going to try to do a live stream at the Heritage Point Park off the South Dalton Bypass or North Dalton Bypass, depending on the way you're going. Tomorrow evening, the last hour or two before it gets dark, I'm planning on trying to go and do a live stream of the fireworks show. Now, usually where I live, here at the Eagle's Nest, where EagleNick audits resides, there is normally fireworks that is being exploded and imploded for about the first 2 weeks before the 4th of July and for a month afterwards. But EagleNick has noticed that the policies of President Creepy Joe Biden, the smelling felon, has got it to where there is not too many people has money to buy those fireworks to be trying to blow up the trees and everything around. That's what makes EagleNick feel so bad when they would be shooting them off. I couldn't see them. All I could do was hear them because they would be out the road on either side, and there are such high trees that you could not actually see them. So is there anybody else going to talk, or y'all done talking? How about you there, Mr. Glass? EagleNick Audits is in the great state of Georgia, home state of past president Mr. Jimmy Carter, who was from Plains, Georgia. Hello there, Mr. Rowland. How you doing? Well, I can't. All I've got is cats, and I'll be way across the other side of town. If they was in the house and fireworks went off, I would never be able to find them. They would get lost in here somewhere. I see the count going up and down a little bit on how many people is watching. Hey, Helen, Georgia is a beautiful place. That is real close to the hometown of a past greatest of all time NASCAR champion, Mr. Bill Elliott. Now, back in the day when Bill Elliott was still driving, EagleNick Audits loved to watch NASCAR. But EagleNick Audits does not like to watch boxcar. Since they started giving them a box and telling them to put their motor and their transmission in that box, EagleNick Audits stopped watching it. Yeah, I hear that, Miss Rayanne. They'll be all around me too, but like I said, there's really no place that I could live stream them. At the Heritage Point Park, which is operated by the Dalton Parks and Recreation Department, EagleNick should be able to get on the public Wi-Fi, thereby being able to live stream. Yeah, I'll tell you when I really lost the most interest in NASCAR was when the Intimidator, Dale Earnhardt, killed himself blocking Sterling Marlin, who was driving the number 40 Coors Dodge, and everybody gave Sterling Marlin literal heck in a handbasket, giving him death threats for something that Mr. Intimidator Dale Earnhardt brought upon himself because he had hired Michael, I swear I'm going to win a race this year, Waltrip. Now, when Dale Earnhardt, the intimidator, hired Michael, I swear I'm going to win a race this year, Waltrip, he had made the mistake of telling Michael, I swear I'm going to win a race this year, Waltrip, that you will win a race this year or I will die trying. And that is exactly what happened. The intimidator, Dale Earnhardt, knew that if he did not block Sterling Marlin, when there was 10 Dodges in the top 10 in the starting positions at the Daytona 500 that year, that Sterling Marlin would have got by him and he would have passed Michael, I swear I'm going to win a race this year, Waltrip. And Dale, I wish I could win a championship, Earnhardt Jr. EagleNick never has really liked Chevrolet drivers since back in the day when Darrell Waltrip drove them, Kel Yarbrough drove them, Bobby Labonte, and certain other drivers. EagleNick never really got into Kyle Busch racing, but I always loved Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch was a true racer. But I tell you, one of my all-time favorites was the Rocket Man, Mr. Flying Ryan Newman, who drove the number 12 All-Tail Dodge. Now, Mr. Chase Elliott, the son of Bill Elliott, now he is a good driver too. But like I said, they are just driving a box. NASCAR stands for the National Association of Stock Car Auto Racers, not boxcar racers. EagleNick always liked Boxcar Willie, but NASCAR is Boxcar Really, and EagleNick does not like that. I really appreciate all of you who have watched this live stream. EagleNick's left hand is starting to go to sleep because you have to hold the phone straight up. EagleNick will be getting some kind of equipment in the very near future to try to hold the phone. Hey, they was always the big ones at Talladega and Daytona near the closing laps. But you got to realize that Bill Elliott, he set the speed record both at Talladega and Daytona, 212 miles an hour at Talladega and 210 miles at Daytona. And that was before restrictor plates. I always liked Ford too. I liked Ford and Dodge, and I even liked the Pontiacs, but I never really cared nothing about the Chevrolet. I just did not like the fact that they called themselves the Bow Tie Warriors like Jeff Gordon. I never got into the bow tie because EagleNick Audits has always been a blue jeans and t-shirt kind of guy. Except when it is the heat of the summer and I wear Crocs and shorts. And most of the time I go shirtless. And right now, because of that, I am real sunburned. Hello there, Mr. Danny. Hold on. Help me hold on to what we had. Is that the song you wanted to hear? Help me hold on. I'm sorry, I hate to tell you, Bill Elliott was not racing when Dale Earnhardt crashed. It was Sterling in the rear end when Dale Earnhardt came down blocking Sterling, Marlin. Dale Earnhardt killed himself because he hired Michael. I swear I'm going to win a race this year, Waltrip. But EagleNick Audits does not usually like to go on about NASCAR because that is the past car. NASCAR as we know it today, I wouldn't give a plug nickel to sit right on the finish line at Talladega, Daytona, or any racetrack that they go to. And that includes the Atlanta Motor Speedway, if they still race there, when the speeds were as fast at Atlanta Motor Speedway as they was when Bill Elliott set the track record at Talladega and Daytona, because EagleNick Audits does not like boxcar. He liked NASCAR, the National Association of Stock Car Auto Racers. NASCAR really started to change too much for EagleNick Audits when Ford came out with the Ford Taurus and dominated the starting lineup at the Daytona 500, the same way it was when Dodge came back to NASCAR and dominated the top 10 spots in the starting lineup at the Daytona 500. It was after Ford with the Taurus dominated that NASCAR started making all the stupid rule changes, putting stuff on the cars, taking stuff away from the cars, and then they did even more tweaking on them when Dodge did the same. But it was time for EagleNick to say, I will not watch this crap no more, when they did away with the cars that the manufacturer body styles was creating and made them start putting their motors and transmissions into a box. Hey, Toyota is bad to the bone, buddy. Now, they got some good cars, but they're still driving boxes. Well, if you're going to talk about Sterling, let's talk about Mr. who they thought would be the greatest of all time, Mr. Jimmy. You know who I'm talking about? That was hired by Mr. Jeff Gordon, who had one of the most crooked pit crew chiefs, who was caught cheating so many times, Mr. Chad Knaus. You know who I'm talking about. Go ahead and say it out there. Spell it out for him. Mr. Jimmy Johnson, who had the most crooked crew chief of all times, Mr. Chad Knaus. Oh, man, you mean they even changed the fuel, too? I didn't even know they did that. I've not watched it in so long. It ain't really about the fuel. You got to realize stock car means they raced the cars that the manufacturer produced, the cars that they manufactured. They raced the body style as is, as was, not as they told them to race them. You know, when Chevrolet could not compete with the Ford Taurus, And when they could not compete with the Dodge Charger, they whined and cried and had the rules changed so much that they totally screwed up NASCAR to where I would never watch it again, even if they was paying me. I would rather ride my bicycle down the road and jump off and skin up both of my knees than to watch NASCAR. That is how EagleNick feels about NASCAR. I used to even like to watch the Busch Series and the truck races. I don't even know what they call them now. They changed the name so many times. EagleNick liked NASCAR when it was called Winston Cup. Brother, that Ford 429 Boss wouldn't be able to hold a candle to the cars they make nowadays without restrictor plates on them. Bill Elliott set a track record of 210 and 212 miles an hour at Daytona and Talladega. But without those restrictor plates, you've got to realize if they could hold it on the track, they could hit 260 in a heartbeat. Hey, I missed the days back when Kel Yarbrough and Darrell Waltrip, I think it was, when they got in a fist fight out there. That was back in the day when you did that bump and run crap that they would get out and whoop your butt. Because, you know, back then it really was called racing, not rubbing. Rubbing was alcohol, not the back end of somebody's car. Nowadays, and the way it was, I don't know about now, because like I said, I've not watched NASCAR since about 2003 or 4. So we're talking about 20 years. Now it's with them, or it was when I watched it then, if you couldn't pass them and beat them, it was okay to hit them in the rear end and wreck them. Wrecking is not racing to EagleNick audits. Racing is racing. Yeah, lightning strike. That is true, man. It just lost all its flair. And Danny, I wouldn't know if they barely crashed. The last time I'd even heard about who won and how they placed, I don't think there was hardly any drivers that I'd ever heard of. The only name I was familiar with was the last name of Bill Elliott's son, Chase Elliott. There was a lot of good old school racers. One of the greatest of all time was Mr. the King, Richard Petty. See, you got to realize Kyle Petty, he wasn't no good either. It skipped that generation, but it picked back up with his son Adam. It was just a shame that Adam Petty died on the racetrack. Adam Petty would have been a future NASCAR champion. You know, I think it was Ernie Irvan that got killed on the racetrack too. Now, Ernie Irvan was a good driver. I always liked to watch Bobby Labonte and Terry Labonte. You know, back then it was real racing. They was more about passing and winning than wrecking and winning. But I really would appreciate it after the live stream is over if y'all would all go and watch a short or two or some videos and let the ads play so that EagleNick could try to generate some revenue. I need to try to get some money up for my legal defense and my legal problems that I will be facing. You know, I have a lot of lawsuits I need to get going, but it takes money to do that. I can't make enough money, nowhere near enough, to even really feed my cats as much as I would like to just picking up cans, because it has got too hot. Now, I could go out and do it fine in the winter because, you know, it's easier to get warm, but it's very hard to stay cool. Hey, I really would appreciate it, Miss Rayanne. You know, that way, if people watches the videos and the shorts and lets the ads play, I can get the revenue from it, because I just have hit the watch ads, the watch page ads, and the short page ads at 3 o'clock this morning when I got up and went to the restroom. I'd looked and seen that they were now eligible, and I turned them on. And I just had received a super thanks, super chat, super stickers the day before. And that is all because of all of you great people who has watched my live streams and who have subscribed to my YouTube channel to help EagleNick Audits stand up for our constitutional rights. Not only the people in the United States, EagleNick has many people watching in the United Kingdom, in Australia, and Canada, and no telling where all else. But I really appreciate everybody, no matter where you are from, no matter what skin color you have, no matter what language you speak. I hope that if you cannot understand my language, that they have the subtitles that will translate what I'm saying, and it will not skewer my words so much like it does when I'm trying to do talk to text. I would say some words, and it would spell out words, and I'd be like, what the heck is that? I didn't say nothing nowhere near like that. And I wouldn't realize it before I had sent the message, and people would say, what the heck you talking about? And I said, that's talk to text. It don't understand me because of my accent. Yes, it sure is, Lightning. Every bit of my audits has been in Dalton, Georgia. You know, some of my videos are more like what you will call, people call cop watches, cop watch. But watching the police in the performance of their duties is the same thing as an audit, because you are recording them in the performance of their duty. You know, sometimes I can't get close enough to try to talk to them, but EagleNick doesn't try to talk to them to try to get any kind of reaction to cause them to say or do anything. The only time I say anything is when they say something to me first. But, oh yeah, today I saw, if you saw the short that I just did of the new code enforcement officer, I actually saw him today when he was coming by. He waved at me and he said, EagleNick. And he actually stopped to where I had recorded him driving off from, and I talked to him. And his name is actually Zach Hollis. And the first code enforcement officer was Jake Hollis. Last name is spelled the same, but he assured me that they were not related. And I said, well, that is good because that is nepotism in the government when family members work together. I bet 90% of the people that watches EagleNick audits did not know that EagleNick knowed how to pronounce nepotism, much less know that EagleNick was intelligent enough to know the meaning. EagleNick audits is very loquacious, loquacious, and is very talkative at times. But sometimes EagleNick audits may get depressed and not want to talk even to himself. But that is very rare. Because EagleNick will not lie. I do talk to myself a lot. Because every now and then, everybody would like to have intelligent conversation. EagleNick audits gets lonely and depressed because he misses his wife, who was killed by Hamilton Medical Center back on February the 19th of 2019 when they overdosed her on fentanyl. Well, I thought I did set up Cash App and PayPal. I need to get somebody that knows how to show me how, because I could have swore I did that. And you know, I've said that my Cash App, if you're familiar with Cash App, you know it's the $ and EagleNick audits the same way it is spelled on this YouTube channel. Capital E, capital N, capital A, all one word with the $, the cash dollars, the dollar bill sign's what I call it, the cash sign in front of it. Well, it would have been a lawsuit, but look, me and my wife were separated, and I left it up to her grandmother and her son, my stepson, and I guess that none of them was interested in trying to get anything from it. I did not try to get anything from it, even though me and my wife is still married, because me and my wife were separated, and my wife was holding a grudge against me and did not have me listed as an emergency contact. And because of that fact, Hamilton Medical Center overdosed her on fentanyl. Now, if I had been informed, if I had been contacted, I would have went up there. I would have found out what the hell was going on, and I would have made sure that they did not let her die. But the gentleman that she was staying with, living with to do methamphetamines, because I do not do meth, I do not do drugs, I smoke cigarettes. But because she was mad at me and did not have me listed as an emergency contact, Hamilton Medical Center killed my wife. No, I did not try to go get her Social Security until 4 months after she passed away. But I was not able to get a single red cent because she had not worked in the past 10 years because she drawed a check because she had a hole in her heart that caused her to have pulmonary hypertension, and she also was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, paranoid schizophrenia, and borderline personality disorder. I really appreciate all of you. I really appreciate you, Miss Ray Ann. I'm glad to know that you're in LJ, Georgia. If you are ever in Dalton, Georgia, I'm riding up and down 41 Highway on my bicycle all the time. If you will check out some of my live stream from the courthouse that I did today, actually, you can see my bicycle in that live stream. Yeah, it's like this. That's what I've said. If I am convicted of the charge of a Class B misdemeanor criminal trespass damage of $500 or less, I know my rights, that I have the right to appeal that conviction, even though it is a misdemeanor, all the way up to the United States Supreme Court, which is the law of the land. If I had to take it to all of the appeals court through Georgia, the Eastern District, every appeals court, EagleNick Audits will fight it and appeal it, because I done know how the United States Supreme Court has ruled. Hey, I used to hear some bad stuff about Forsyth. Back in the day, they used to be real racist from what I'd heard. Now, EagleNick used to go to all up and down. I used to go down to, let's see, I can't even remember all the places I've been. But I used to go all over Georgia, all the way to Savannah. But I've just not been nowhere in so long other than on a bicycle that I'm always just around here. I used to go to Marietta, Smyrna, Hawkinsville, Georgia, Perry, Georgia, Helena, Georgia, Dawsonville, LJ, Ringo, Georgia. That's still in Georgia. I've always loved the mountains of LJ, though. That is real good to hear that they are not the same. You know, they made national headlines with the way they was back very many years ago. I would not even have thought about it until I seen Lightning Strike say that they was originally from Forsyth County, Georgia. But once again, I would like to thank you all for everything that you have done for EagleNick Audits. Just by you being here and watching this live stream, you are helping EagleNick out. And I'm sorry that I talk in the third person sometimes. It's like it is another way to have another person talking good about me, because there is not too many people that talks good about EagleNick, because I am EagleNick. And EagleNick tries to stand up for his rights and the rights of all the citizens of the United States. I love you all. I pray that you will all be blessed. Please be safe on the 4th of July. Like Mr. Tracy Bird said, if you drink, don't drive. do the watermelon crawl. God bless and protect you, your family, and all your friends. Stay safe, and until next time, EagleNick audits. I am EagleNick. I love you, and I'm out.